AITA if I break off my engagement because of his new views about women. I'm 28F in a really tough spot with my fiancé, 34M. Things between us used to be great, but over the past year, his political views have shifted in a way that's created some serious tension in our relationship. I've mostly kept quiet, trying to avoid unnecessary arguments, but it all came to a head recently when he made some disturbing comments about a woman at his job who accused someone of sexual assault. He immediately dismissed her claims, saying she was lying. That really didn't sit right with me, so I pointed out how, whenever a woman accuses a man of something like rape, his first reaction is always to question her honesty. He justified it by saying it's ridiculous to believe such accusations without solid evidence. But then I asked him how he could accuse her of lying without any proof either, and of course, he just doubled down on his stance. This isn't the first time we've clashed over these issues. He regularly sends me articles about women, especially female teachers, who have been accused of sexually abusing boys. What's frustrating is that he never seems to question those boys' stories or asks for proof in those cases. When I pointed out this double standard, he got really upset and accused me of trivializing male sexual abuse. That wasn't what I was trying to do at all. I was just trying to highlight how differently he reacts when men are the victims versus when they're the accused. He continues to deny being biased against female accusers, but I reminded him of the time when allegations against Diddy first surfaced. He immediately claimed that feminists were just out to ruin a successful man's life, but he didn't have the same energy when a man made similar accusations against Diddy. Even when there was video evidence of Diddy physically assaulting Cassie, he still tried to justify it by saying, "We don't know the whole story." That level of hypocrisy is really hard for me to swallow. The breaking point for me was when he went off on yet another rant about how women are supposedly worse than men because we're sneaky and conniving, while men, in his words, are at least upfront about being terrible. He kept insisting that women are far worse human beings than men, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I told him there's no place on earth, either now or in the past, where women have committed more violent crimes than men. I added that men are more likely to kill each other than we are, so they're a bigger threat to themselves than we are for being sneaky. I also pointed out that blaming women for things like conscription is absurd when men dominate government positions, both in the US and globally. He was furious with me, but instead of engaging in a proper argument, he accused me of being brainwashed by feminism. He went on to say that feminism had convinced me that I'm special, which made no sense to me and didn't seem relevant to anything we were discussing. In the heat of the moment, I shot back. Maybe patriarchy lied to you about this relationship being special. I was so upset that I took off my engagement ring, threw it on the table, and stormed out of the house. We haven't spoken since that night. Today, he sent me a long text message explaining how hurtful my comment was and saying that I would be a good wife if I could just stop needing to be right all the time. I haven't responded yet, and I'm really torn about whether I should. On one hand, I feel guilty for throwing the ring and for saying that our relationship isn't special. I know that must have hurt him deeply. But on the other hand, I'm seriously questioning whether I even want to marry him anymore. He's always been argumentative, not just with me but with everyone around him. Usually, I just let it go to keep the peace, but his recent behavior has been so hypocritical that I couldn't stay quiet. I know I shouldn't have let my anger get the best of me, and I don't think all men are bad. I was just so frustrated by his constant woman bashing. I don't consider myself to be particularly political, and I'm not even sure if I'd call myself a feminist. But it's exhausting to hear him complain about women nonstop. I don't know when he started becoming like this, but it's really tough to deal with. There are still things I love about him, and that makes this even harder. But the things he's been saying lately might be too much for me to overlook. Despite everything, I can't ignore my own role in this mess. I bottled up my feelings for so long, trying to avoid conflict, and then exploded when I couldn't take it anymore. Maybe if I'd spoken up earlier and nipped this in the bud, things wouldn't have gotten this bad. But now, I'm just really lost and unsure of what to do. Am I the a-hole for considering ending things over this? Or is it justified given how much he's changed?